Alright, so with the Granblue Fantasy Versus Rising betas coming to an end, I think it's time for us to sit down, reflect, and really digest what we all just played, and talk about the direction that the game devs at ArcSys and Cygames are trying to take Granblue as a whole as a fighting game franchise. Off rip, I just want to thank ArcSys and Cygames for giving me the opportunity to not only play in the open beta, but to also have access to the early closed beta as well. Also, disclaimer, everything shown in this video is from my personal gameplay from during the beta, as well as clips from the official Granblue Twitter account, as well as clips from other Granblue players. So real quick, I just want to say that for a beta, this game looks phenomenal. Granblue has always been a very visually pleasing game, but I think Rising just takes it a step further, with its use of dynamic camera works and impact flashes, as well as its new lighting engine. Obviously, the game is still clearly in works, as you can see with some of the character models kind of looking rough around the edges, if not completely different from what they used to look like in the original game, but I'm sure like everything else in this game, these are all subject to change when the full game releases. So speaking of changes, let's talk about what has changed from the original Versus going into Rising. Well, the removal of mechanics like Rush, Backshift, as well as OD have allowed the devs to return Granblue to form sort of. I say sort of because in Rising, they've introduced a bunch of new system mechanics that enable players to explore and play the game in a more aggressive fashion while still trying to keep the more casual / beginner friendly appeal that Granblue has always had. One of these new changes is the way they've reworked dashing and combos. Dash attacks and high-low mix during auto combos are new mechanics introduced into the game, and while I found myself using them sparingly during the beta, when I was on the receiving end of them, they really seem to breathe new life into how you approach each fight. This was especially the case with dash attacks. However, while both mechanics are cool additions, they really aren't anything to write home about. During my time playing the beta as Zeta, I actually only found myself really using her light dash attack since it seemed to be a good way to kind of break into people's range without committing too much, especially since running up and using light attacks seemed to have been nerfed quite a bit from the original. I just hope that in the full release they kind of let us do more with them, like for example, going into an auto combo from a dash attack, or going into the high-low mix from a dash attack, or even being able to stagger between the other versions of the dash attack, stuff like that. Since right now, both mechanics just kind of feel independent of each other, they don't really blend all that well. And honestly, that's kind of how a lot of the new mechanics feel as a whole. The game is still very early in development, I get that, but some of these new mechanics just feel incomplete, and this is especially the case with ultimate skills. Rising as a game was designed with easy inputs in mind. However, I think in order for the game to truly make full use of this, I think the devs really need to go back to their drawing boards and rethink how ultimate skills work altogether. It's honestly really hard to wrap your head around what ultimate skills want to be, since unlike EX skills, you can't combo into them. You also can't combo out of them, since outside of specific character tools and setups, once ultimate skills move hit, they hard cap your combo limit. So you basically have a flashy move that kind of wastes meter and has super situational usage. A good example of this would be Zeta's ultimate fireball, which is pretty decently safe on block and negates most moves and all fireballs. But you can't do much outside of that, since in most cases it'll either push the opponent too far to really get any feasible follow-up, or in the situations where you somehow get them where they don't fly too far, the combo limit on ultimate skills makes it so any cool follow-up or combo potential you would have had with them isn't really true or scales terribly. What I'm trying to say is ultimate skills kinda suck right now for some characters, but are super good for other characters. Ultimate skills are honestly just a mess, and most of the time you're not even going to really want to waste a meter on ultimate skills anyways, because meter management in this game is extremely important now. And all those cool optimized corner combos you used to see before also got gutted, since there's now a meter penalty, and a whole other mechanic that revolves around it. So for anyone who did play the beta, you probably saw this coming, but I think it's time for us to address the elephant in the room. Raging strikes and brave counters. These are some of the most unbalanced mechanics in a game I've ever seen, and it's not even for the reasons you think. For one, Raging Strike is a move that for 25% of your meter you can completely destroy your opponent's guard. Now, plenty of fighting games have guard breaking mechanics and moves, and that's what makes them fun and makes the concept of defense and offense more engaging for both players and spectators. Only problem is that Raging Strike is broken. It's borderline unreactable with barely a noticeable cue for when it happens, and the risk reward for it is always in the favor of the person who uses it. On top of that, when you do land it, you can get a guaranteed follow-up for full combo, and the only real counterplay that the game tries to tell you about is a mechanic that is the complete opposite of it. Now look, I am not the best at fighting games, but I still think that this is easily one of the most belligerent mechanics I've ever dealt with. And that's saying a lot, because I've played a bunch of Kusoges up until now, and those games are filled with thousands of situational and mechanical checkmates. But none of that compares to this. So if the devs are ever planning to make any changes to the game before release, I pray they rework the RPS situation between Raging Strikes and Brave Counters. Because right now, Raging Strikes are a little bit too overtuned, whereas Brave Counters kinda just suck, and just like ultimate skills are kinda just a waste of your meter for no reason. Outside of these and some other minor nitpicks I had with the system changes overall, I think the game, the foundation we were shown during this beta, is really good. Like, it took me a while to get used to how the game works now, since a lot of normals and combo routes and things have changed for better and for worse, but I genuinely think that Rising is just a better, snappier, and faster version of the original Granblue Fantasy Versus. Everything you loved about the original is still there, and the things that they've added to freshen up the gameplay, while they're kinda lackluster right now, I can see them being some of the more fun elements once they get patched or fixed in the future full release. Not only that, but it really can't be understated how much more charming and visually pleasing the game has gotten. Like, characters that have lore or interactions in the gacha games now react to who they're fighting more often. They have banter before, between, and after rounds. The music, oh my gosh, the music is still just as awe-inspiring and kick-ass as it's always been. And despite the beta kinda giving people the wrong impressions of the game because of these new mechanics, I still believe that Granblue Fantasy Versus Rising will be the game that we all hope it and the original Versus would have been if not for the pandemic. But with that being said, I'ma stop gaslighting y'all and let you all form your own opinions about the game. And for those of you who did end up playing in the betas or saw some gameplay snippets here and there, I want to know what your impressions of this early version of the game are in the comments section down below. Also, don't forget to leave a like and share this video with friends and get the word around about the game, alright? The game is gonna be good. They just need to change a couple of things and then the game is gonna be fine. It's gonna be amazing, alright? Get hype about the game. Let's get hype. Let's hype people up about the next game, right? The future of Granblue. Let's get people hyped out about the game. Anyways, I'm gonna see y'all next time. Peace!